our expectations of this a new global financing pact. What is our expectation? From the perspective from where I come from, we've had the testimonies from my dear sister Motley, from the Prime Minister of Pakistan, from the Sahel, from what is happening in Malawi, in Zambia, in Mozambique, what's happening in the Horn of Africa where I come from. We've lost millions of livestock because of drought. So climate change is real, no doubt. We're living through it every day. From where I sit, we need out of this summit, we need two outcomes. Number one, we need to agree on how do we get emergency liquidity. Number one, how do we deal with debt that is saddling many developing countries, and how do we get additional money in the context of what Motley said in the morning, urgency and skill. Those two things we need just to answer. In my very respectful submission, I believe we should not leave this conference until we agree on what we are going to do to get many countries in the global south to at least be in a position to have a conversation by sorting out their immediate issues. And the immediate issues is there is no space for debt anymore. We need to deal with it. We need emergency liquidity in the context of where we are today, coming from the pandemic, getting into the war in Europe and getting into the climate change situation, the many crises we have to sort out, what we need to do urgently. The proposal I make is we need to reform the multilateral development financing institutions. The international financial architecture is not sitting pretty. UN Secretary General said on this podium this morning that there are countries that are paying 8 times in interest what the rest are paying. He was actually referring to those of us in Africa and largely in the global south. We're paying 8 times. And that is why our being in debt is not by default. We were set up by the system to be in debt. If you are paying 8 times, the chances of you being saddled with debt are 8 times higher than the next person. So how do we get out of this? Our suggestion that before we